really Python, but since you're in the field, I was wondering I should ask you anyways.
Yeah,
Um,
please.
so I think this was back when I was looking at your profile. It said you had some experience with AI, if I remember correctly, that you've either studied it or you've worked with it. And so I was just wondering, AI kind of like the concept of it really interests me. So I was just wondering what do you think the state of it's gonna be like within the next 5 to 10 years?
No, nobody can know because, well, okay. So
This is very
before the,
interesting.
yes, of course, it's very interesting, and so the AI that I worked with is actually in close to the medical field.
I
So
see.
we was trying to make applications that do diseases predictions. So based on your current health measurements,
Hmm.
okay, there is something called vital signs. I'm not sure if you're aware about the term or not, but vital signs is a measurement of 6 or 7 uh, um, health measurement on the body, like oxygen level, blood pressure, sugar level, oxygen level. Again, what else? Just a few things also again,
Hmm.
and so using these, they used to predict things in the future. Like, okay, will this guy have a chance of getting becoming a diabetes?
But
And
would
if
it really be considered predicting if you have to provide it with a good amount of data?
Sorry, can you rephrase your question again?
Yeah, so like, is it considered predicting when you
Yes,
just give?
yes, it is predicting based
Okay.
on so typically you need a data set. Data set means that you need maybe thousands of patients data that can show, okay, people who have this kind of measurements,
Hmm.
they tend to have, but of course this need to be a long-term kind of data set. So normally it comes from hospitals or even clinics. And one of the most popular data is the one that data sets that come from India. So
Hmm.
especially for the diabetes one. So typically they will measure the people, and the people will keep following up, and then with this kind of measurement, we are able to see the progress of the diseases in the people, and they end up, for example, having diabetes. So before the people having you know what the mean diabetes, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So before the diabetes, actually, there is something called the pre-diabetes, or yeah, pre-diabetes stage. So
Hmm.
people don't feel it when they are in pre-diabetes stage. And in pre-diabetes stage, even people can reverse diabetes. They can prevent them from having diabetes, but typically people don't feel it. So anyhow, so they
Okay.
have a long term of measurement, and that is a thousand of patients, and then based on that you are able to tell, okay, with this measurement and with this progressing of measurement, maybe after 1 or 2 or 3 years they're going to have this kind of disease, and after they develop diabetes they are going
Hmm.
to have maybe heart disease. Typically most of the people who have diabetes end up having heart diseases, and then
Mm.
after heart disease the that chance of getting a heart attack is higher. So also there is another prediction that AI can do, that can tell, oh, this guy with this measurement, if he is taking alcohol, if he's a smoker or not, if he is practicing sports or not, then how is his chance of getting heart disease or even heart attack? So this, yeah, there is the data sets that talk about that. Okay, so
So from,
this is a kind of sort of AI. So this is not all the AI. AI is quite wide actually.
it is, yeah. So from this is also what I was thinking is that now that like AI is somewhat like established and out there, wouldn't you say that it can only like it has the ability capabilities of self-improvement and making itself more advanced? Like AI is only going to get better and better, you know what I mean? And like now that
Yes, yes, definitely,
like
yes.
because it can just fix its own, like you can ask an AI to check bugs, right? Like in its software.
It's true. Yeah,
So
it's yes,
it can fix
yes.
it. Eventually, it should be able to get to the part where it can fix itself, right?
Mm, but to be frank with you, this kind of science, it is not available for, I mean, it's only available for big companies who have a lot of data to be able to feed it inside the AI that can help in this
I
kind of
think we
methods.
need to wait for the quantum computer.
I think no. I mean, it's happening. For
Yeah.
example, there is services in that people can use with Visual Basic, as not Visual Basic, Visual Studio, that can
Mm-hmm.
even you can tell it what you want and it can provide the code for you.
I
So
see.
yeah. So it is there. So it means if it start to provide code, it means that yes, it can fix itself. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe Facebook already talked about that before, that they started to make people to make a kind of AI that can uh, keep evolving by time, and then they find that they develop their own language, that they are able to, two of different computers are able to talk together and they don't understand. So
Wow.
what
That's
they
great.
said,
So two table computers are talking to each other.
yes, and they created their own language
They
that
created their own
yes,
language too.
yes, and this makes
That quickly.
yes, not quickly, but I believe they didn't explain it. But
Okay.
what Mark said at that time, that they got scared from what
Uh-huh.
is happening, and then they removed the blocks.
So
I mean,
this must have been a few years ago, right?
that I think I hear it. Yeah, one or two, maybe within last 3 years, something like that. I hear
Okay.
it. Yeah.
And this
So
was with Facebook?
yes,
Oh
and I
wow.
think at that time Elon Musk make a fun of
Uh-huh.
Mark about
Oh
his
yeah, yeah.
treatment.
They don't like each other.
Yeah, so yes, this can happen definitely, but
Yeah.
and to be frank, so this is one of the fields. There is another field in the AI that
Mm-hmm.
talk about recognition of objects in images. So
I
that's
see.
slightly tight, and then you use Python, and there is certain type of libraries that you have in Python that is able to see a video, and then it can tell you, okay, this person appeared in the video or not. So this facial
Mhm.
recognition, and even and um, not only facial recognition, but they're able to even tell the emotion of the person who was
So
talking.
okay, I guess this is my next question about that. There's this new you might have seen it. There's this new website out there. You kind of give like a pretty, it can be pretty specific description.
Mhm.
Like let's just say this is the first one comes to mind. England wins World Cup or something. If you
Oh,
say that, type it in, it will give you an accurate digital representation,
wow,
like
that's
a
interesting.
picture.
I didn't see that before. I
It's
mean,
a
I didn't check it.
Microsoft and Bing have this website. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
what is the name of the website? Let me check it.
Yes, let me send you right now. It should be called Bing AI Generator,
Okay.
AI image generator.
So just yeah, so again, like I told you, there is the generative AI, actually it is coming new recently. So,
Okay.
and I have seen startups that they take a lot of house designs, and
Mm-hmm.
then they they take requirement from new customers, and instead of asking their engineers to design something, then they feed the requirement to AI, and based on the data set of previous designs and what the people like, the
Mm-hmm.
AI keeps generating new designs for the house, and even for the outlook of the house. And yeah, it seems that it works, and
Yeah.
they are able to sell these designs, and people are satisfied from that.
Wow,
So
that's a
yeah,
good idea.
yeah, see, this is the kind of generative AI. I think it's the simplest way. Of course, you will not be able to see that in the market, because it is typically for high end people, so who are able to
Mhm.
pay for house designs or want to build their own houses. But
Yeah.
of course, as a simple way of it that you can see generating images.
Mm-hmm.
So they feed it with 1,000 of images, and then
Yeah,
the AI can predict or even can generate something
that's
new.
cool. Very
Um,
cool.
but again, that's I don't think that this is what you're going to see in your career, because this is evolving so fast. I
Do
think,
you think I'm gonna see what in my career?
yeah, I mean, that's not what you're going to. So this kind of ideas is simple, just only that, yeah, a couple of programmers can just generate it and provide it on the web, and that's it. But typical things like generating text, generating code,
Mm-hmm.
this is the kind of thing that only big companies is capable of.
Yeah.
So you know GitHub, right? I think, I'm not
Yes.
sure if you ever studied Git. So did you study Git? So this means that you're able to. So if you write a code, if you write 1,000 lines of code, and then um, typical programmer, or previously before we use Git, so what we see is that, okay, I make a change to the code, and the code become not stable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So and and then if you didn't take a backup from your code every once in a while, then you end
Uh-huh.
up in a big mess, because you don't know what kind of change that you have done that caused the whole software to be unstable. It's very
Mm-hmm.
hard to actually sometimes detect that, because some of the errors is not just about a compiling error, or error that will come when you're compiling or starting to run the software. Some errors only happen after. I saw errors that only happen after 2 or 3 hours of running the software,
Oh,
and then
so wow.
you never know. I mean, then the problem happen. If it happened like that, then the it's become tedious if you have to look into log codes of
Oh
of
yeah.
of 2 or 3 hours of a log code that you want to see what really happened before that issue, or what led to that issue, and why it only happened after 2 or 3 hours. Why not immediately?
Yeah.
So that's a kind of I mean, um, yeah. So anyhow, so when we use Git, we are able to say, okay, so every change that you make, every new feature that you add to the software, then
Mm-hmm.
you are able to save it and commit it and make it like, okay, this is like a stable stage, and then you say, oh, you mark this kind of changes. I made these changes to fix 1 or 2 bugs, or even to add a new feature, and then you keep doing that, and you end up having maybe hundreds of commits in
Mm-hmm.
your code to in a, I mean, so you, how to say, you're able to mark, or somehow like take a backup of your code at stable stages. So if you face a
But
problem,
oh, so do you have to like save or make a backup in stages?
yes, but you don't have to copy the whole source code and just zip it and take it in a different. So it does automatically. You just use the command line. Oh, okay. Just take these files. Uh, Mark is like, it's like taking a snapshot from your code and saving it in a inside database. But you don't care about what is happening inside. You just tell them, okay, get my code and mark. I take a snapshot from it and mark it at, oh, I added this feature. That's why I'm saving it, or this is related to the snapshot that I'm taking from the code. And then you keep adding on top of that every feature or every class you add to your code, every object you add to your code, every test or every function. And then if you change something, and then you start to figure, oh, there is some instability in the code, you can
Mhm.
quickly, easily, with the command line, go back one step backward. Because again, if you want to change, if you have maybe 20 or 30 files that you want to
Uh-huh.
look, or that's not easy to do.
Oh
but
no.
but it's easy for Git to do it. So you can just say, you can just go to previous snapshot that you take for the code,
Mm-hmm.
and tell it, oh, go back to previous stage that was more stable.
I
Okay.
see. Okay, if you save it in stages, then that makes sense.
yes, and only it is only in the command line, and also using this Git, is you are able to push your code to GitHub. You are able to push, especially Python, because Python does not run. Python need a special hosting providers to be able to run on the cloud. So Heroku, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of the popular one, they was having free, how to say, free like package that you are able to use, and they give you like 3 hours. You are able to run your software on. So you push your Python code and they run it for you. Typical hosting providers does not offer to run Python. So if you want to run Python or
Mm-hmm.
even Flask or Django, for
I
Django
see.
and Flask is a framework on top of Python. But
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think as a security person you really need to develop something heavy in Flask and Django. So Django is a framework if you want to develop software for the web
Mm-hmm.
using Python, and then
Gotcha.
Flask if you want to develop AI
Mm-hmm.
AI software. Of
Yeah.
course, it's using Python, and then you want to expose it to the web so that people can. Okay, if for example the AI image generators that you're talking about, so
Uh-huh.
typically they have Python in the back end, and
So
then
backend AI runs with Python?
so they wrap it around the Python, and then from there they are able to call the AI functions that do this kind of generative images and so on. And yeah, so it have a web interface, and you are able to use it. So they use typically Flask framework,
Mm-hmm.
and also Flask is able. So if you want to make Python talk to other systems,
Yeah.
you took something. It's called API
Yes.
in your class.
Application. Yes.
So if you want to make Flask or Python talk to other websites or services, you have to use API. And if you want to other websites to call your Python code, you have to use API. And Flask is a simple framework that make you able to use Python in a few lines of code to make a service available that people are able to call it, and it give reply in JSON code. So JSON
Mm-hmm.
code is used to exchange data between different systems. So
Yeah. JSON
typically,
is more widespread. So.
yes. So typically, last time we have a mobile application
Mm-hmm.
on the Android, and that was trying to call the AI prediction for diseases. So it passed. So the AI itself was hosting on the cloud using
Mm-hmm.
Python and
Yeah.
Flask, and it provide JSON as an API, and the mobile application was able to call the API and get information out. So it passed all the health measurements, and the AI reply with one or two answers.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the person have a potential of developing heart attack, or no.
Oh, I
Okay.
see. Okay.
Okay. So, but
Mhm.
again, interestingly, I actually prepared an exercise for you because JSON is part of your syllabus, and
Yes.
so you might end up with having questions, either multiple choice or even part of your exercise. I mean, the final exam. So,
Got
I don't
yeah.
see that he provided you with a lot of examples or even
Yes.
tests.
So actually, since we're talking about that, could we talk about that before we do the assignment 12, the Jason
Yes,
one?
yes, definitely. Because
Okay.
so I okay. Let me see. Uh, there is a service that offer us. Actually, this is extending for lab 12, or let me try to remember, either HA5 or lab 12, the one with the library and books. So that is an exercise that I
It's
that
similar to that. Okay.
yeah, is extending on top of that. So we use that
Oh,
concept. Let me see, where is this? Yeah, it's here. So okay.
Okay, yes, exactly. So this is the one that I just uploaded today, or
Oh,
a
really?
few days ago, the number 12.
Okay. So this is not 12 exactly. This is on top of 12. So
Okay,
what
got
you
you.
have built of 12 on top of 12, I came up with a list of things that we can do to practice everything that comes in your syllabus. So we
Okay,
are able to call JSON, and we are able to call we are able to call API that return us JSON format data, and then
mhm,
from that data we use to build our dictionaries. Okay,
okay,
so in this example, you actually have a class called library, which is similar to what you have actually previously done.
uh-huh,
Uh, okay, but in the exercise, the library was only a collection, but here
you have to use
it is a
C
class.
code. Okay, okay,
Okay, so you have to convert your code somehow, modify it a little bit to make it a class. Okay, and then you have the same exact book class. There is not much changes. It take title, author, ISBN, copies, and the extra thing here that it takes a country.
okay,
Okay, so this library, last time you have it as a dictionary. So
uh-huh.
this time we use it a default
Default
dictionary.
dictionary.
Okay, and instead of having a normal key, which is a title, previously you use a title. No, we use a tuple. We use a tuple that have the title and the country. So title and country. And we use that as a key inside our dictionary. So like previously you use a title only. So we use here a tuple is part of your also syllabus. Um, but let us focus on the JSON part. It's actually interesting. Let me show you. So let me see. Okay, yeah. So the thing is, we have to call um, that URL.
Okay,
So we use and we call this URL using the I think the JSON response library, if not mistaken, request JSON request library. Yes. So I will show you how it looks like before we start to attempt to even solve that. So we have to call that search. So this is an API. Okay,
okay,
and this API, it means that the software is designed that you give it a request and it return back to you a response. So we have to provide it with a title of the book, and it will return to us list of books and
mhm,
details of that, and we have to get out from this JSON data returned to us.
uh-huh,
We have to get out something which is
okay,
the author name.
okay,
Okay, so that is a typical. So this is the typical response, how it looks like, how this is structured.
mm-hmm,
Our the things that we are interested in is only docs here. So
uh-huh,
that is actually so the whole thing is a JSON file. So it means that it can be imported into a dictionary directly, and then
okay,
once we are able to access to if we, in a dictionary, if we use the key docs, we are able to get all the data inside, and this is the only interesting thing to us.
okay,
So inside here, the data also is structured in something like a list, if you see here. Um, and then inside the docs, we find all this information. And
mhm.
what is only interesting to us is the
We
author
just need
name.
author name.
Yes,
Okay,
just only need to find a way to get out the author name. Okay,
okay,
so um, I thought that maybe okay to help you to when you see an exercise, I try to make um, typically this is called teacher in direct instructions. So I
mhm,
make for you steps that you if you follow, I think you're able to really focus. So
okay,
once you see an exercise, so which which part of the exercise you start with. So we will practice that here on this exercise specifically.
Okay.
Okay. And if I believe to overcome the issues that ideas keep rushing to your mind,
Mm-hmm.
my advice to you is that to stick to that exact direct instructions. So,
Okay.
okay, if you see classes, then you start to let me show you here. I wrote that so that you're able to see it step by step. So,
Okay.
okay. First of all, I would say that yes, you need to draw something like a diagram of major parts of the things that you are going to. So if you have two classes, for example, then you can draw a box with the class. I mean, no need to make it a UML diagram. Just for you to start to visualize what you need to do. Okay, if it is so, I mean, this is an optional part that you need to do if it is complicated and you cannot really get from where or how is the relation between different classes. So in our case, we have a library class
Uh-huh.
here and we have a book class. So
Okay.
okay, so if I am confused, then I need to to try to visualize it in front of my eyes. So I know now what is the relation between a library and books. So books will be part of library class,
Mm-hmm.
and I will create maybe a one collection inside, which is a default dictionary here, and then inside the default dictionary, I'll be able to store books inside. Okay, so and again, and now to the next step. If you have a menu to create, you start with a menu first, because you cannot start testing your code without creating a menu. So the menu will allow you, okay, to start first. This is like the initial structure that you need to start with. So under the menu, he will tell you, oh, if you press one, then I will do this kind of functionality. If you press two, I will do this. It's typical. We have done this many times in the exercises,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
So, but again, I'm telling
But
you
why is it
which.
saying if there is a menu? Are we not creating a menu?
In this case, we are creating a menu, and in most of your exercises, we are creating a menu. But
Yes, that's what we.
sometimes you are not creating a menu. I mean, some of the GUI, you are not creating a menu. So it depends.
Because
It
like when
depends.
I think of GUI, it seems kind of like a menu, you know what I mean?
Um, you can say it's a menu. It's not typically a typical menu in the normal software, because in normal software you have to drop down a list and this is a menu. But okay, let us consider the buttons that appears on the screen as a menu. Let's
Yes.
okay, let us assume it's that. Yes, okay, for the moment, to make it easy. So yes, you can consider it a menu. Yes, a GUI can consider it a menu.
Mhm.
Okay, fine. So you start to create your menu first, and from there, so, okay, we have to close and open again.
Okay.